Kevala, Baba Nam 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 Kevala. Baba Nam Kevalam, Baba Nam Kevalam. Baba Nama Kevala, Baba Nama Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala, Baba Nam Kevala. Baba Nam Kevalam, 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 Baba Nam Kevalam. Okay, namaskar to everybody. Welcome back to our yoga psychology study circle. And still some people are missing, but anyway, I think we have to start because with our schedule also everybody is busy. Um, Today we want to review the answers to our questions. And actually, the plan was to make groups, but I think we have few people, so I think we can maybe just discuss it together. Didi, Ananda Suveda, what do you think?
Yeah, but maybe
I had a workshop, for 2-day workshop on yoga psychology in the center of Shivananda yoga system. And so I know that lady, I've known her for many years, and she respects us very much, and her students are always very wonderful. So I like to go there. And so I was discussing with her, because in Shivananda system, they also have um, they have different levels, and they have I think the first level is also 12 poses. And they're very similar to our poses. They have the Sarvangasana, they do the Majendrasana, Chakrasana, they do Bhastrikasana, they do Paschimottanasana. They're very similar. And the practice is not as regulated as with us. We have more breathing and we have to repeat more times. And they do sun salutation, we don't do. So, and this Shivananda yoga, the good thing is that, it's different from the outside yoga asana teaching because it teaches inner awareness. So it uses the asana to, to relax, and it repeats every class the same asanas. And so their idea is that you practice and you practice the same asana over and over, and you develop deeper awareness and release of your whatever tensions and create greater balance. And I think if they can do it, why we cannot do it? I have this question in my mind that so today I started organizing. If you want, if you're interested, go to the WhatsApp group, and they are still drafts, so maybe there will be some changes again. But I wanted you to have a look. And I don't know, maybe you have done something like this already. In Taiwan, I have not seen this. And so I selected 12 asanas, and I can send one more file this is the whole structure for all the asanas. So I've also sent it to the WhatsApp group. That's easier for me. So this, and so you can see for every vayu and what the for every level I have done. 1 second, okay, I have to find my documents. So this every level has all the values. All the values are there, and so it's quite balanced. Okay, so the idea is that whatever level you practice, you can work on all the values. And I try if I can send it to the Zoom group. I can send it, but it will. I'll send to the WhatsApp group.
Brother Rujamo has a level 1 for how long?
Actually, I think that is I have no fixed idea about this. I think that that is something people have to look at the situation. You know, level 1 is about, you know, you learn to focus on the breathing, and you learn to relax the muscles, and I think these are the main targets, and then that you know how to repeat, and you have a personal practice, then you have more stamina, you can go to level 2.
So does it mean also maybe it's better to have like a PowerPoint, so with the explanation why we do like this, no?
You know, I think that is the idea of the study circle, that we actually don't know how to analyze our asanas and see the science of the asanas. One second, you know, I never know where I save my things. I found it. And so, yeah, maybe I can make a PowerPoint and have put everything in a concise. Okay, it's gone to the WhatsApp group. You can see, if you can go to the WhatsApp group, there is an outline of 3 levels of the. And there, if you open that file, you can see we have the internal values. So for every level, can you open that one, Didi? Can you see it?
Yes, can see there is.
Yeah, so if you look at Udana means the pelvic area. So actually many of Baba's asanas are related to the Udana Vayu. If you look, if you count, I think there are more than almost 15 asanas Baba has for the Udana Vayu. And then for Samana means the navel area. Actually, Baba doesn't have so many asanas. Not. And then you see Pranavayu means chest opening and shoulder opening poses. Also only 5 or 6. And then Baba, of course, has many for Udana. Oh, sorry, there's a mistake. The first Udana must be Apana. Apana means the pelvic region. Sorry, did you see that one? I made a mistake. And so you see, every level has for each vayu, it has several practices. So the balance is there. And I think that is not a bad thing. And I am thinking that if we want to train teachers, we have to offer them a system. Okay, this is level 1, and then you go to level 2, and then you go to level 3. Level 3, actually, I don't think many, even good yogis, many of these asanas are very hard to do. Yeah. Does anybody have any feedback on this? Lalita, do you have any questions?
I just like to share that before I also learned from because I also have some friends who practicing Sivananda and follow that system, and also I also tried to um, lay out the level of the class, like level 1 asana with the I combine with the book called Human Conduct book, like to add in the ethics values to introduce our perspective about the social value or the value, the ethic value of the personality, you know. So I plan to do like that, but I have a challenge that, you know, like people they keen on the like a market asana. So so after a while, then the class also dropped of people, and then the COVID came, and then I couldn't continue this system anymore. Yeah, that's my experience.
You know, because where I went yesterday, we discussed this point, right? That because people come from, they want to sweat or whatever, you know. And actually, we have, whenever we do good asanas, and Baba's actually quite tasking because you have to repeat and hold for 30 seconds. And some of these asanas really are quite, require stamina. More than Shivananda's system. But as she told me, she is able to keep people very well because the relaxation value of her class. So I think, yeah, I don't know. We have to compromise or we develop our own system. What you're mentioning is also in my mind. And actually this Jama Niyama and other health practices in Baba's Charya, I want to include it, and
Yeah, I have the same idea, but then I after the COVID, I decided to focus on the kids only, so I didn't continue this type
right.
of asana class for adults.
Maybe that's why Baba gave me this task.
Yeah.
I want to finish this, and because I feel kind of sad, you know. In Amaya, I think we're going to have a meeting this month. I think everybody is so much longing to have a system, and that is accepted by everybody, and everybody together will promote it. And I think, anyway, this is my suggestion to them. All right, so I think we are going to start with the review of our questions. And Didyananda Suveda, can you do the first question?
Yeah, okay, wait, I need to, should I read the question?
Yeah, I think you have to read it. And I saw your answer, so I think...
but because I'm using in the same mobile, I need to go to the question. Wait, just...
Oh, okay. If not convenient, I can do it.
Let me see, quick. I can get it. Just 1 minute.
Let me start, okay? The first question is, Baba explains that the relationship between body and mind is very close. In Charya Charya, Baba writes this. And then part 3. And from current scientific understanding, what is the key interface that links thought and physical response? So what translates thought into hormones in our body?
It's, how you call that? Hypothalamus.
Hypothalamus.
Yeah, that's right. So now the hypothalamus is part of which chakra?
Hypothalamus. I think near Agya Chakra.
I think it is part of Agya Chakra. I think together with the pituitary, because the hypothalamus and the pituitary, they work very closely. So if the hypothalamus has a message, either from the prefrontal lobes or from the body, it will send a message to the pituitary, and that will become a hormone response in the body. So I think if we understand this, we know, and many of us, we focus certain chakra in our meditation. So the hypothalamus takes 20% of the blood of the brain, though it's only 1% of the weight of the brain. So it's very small, but it's a very strong key in the whole brain-body balance. And so in our practice, if the hypothalamus is not working well, and one reason can be lack of oxygen. And so our focusing on the chakras related to the hypothalamus will bring more oxygen and activate it and improve its functioning. Okay, the second question, I will continue, okay, Didi? Did you find a question? Or I will talk. So in the second question, in yoga, we talk about samskaras. How do past impressions, means like memories or samskaras, shape us physically? Didi, do you want to tell your answer? Didi Ananda Soweta?
Yeah, I saw the answer. You see, past impressions like a memory, samskara shape us physically by arousing our emotions through the vrittis.
Okay, I remember you sent another answer.
Yeah, me is because I thought about samskara.
Yeah.
Samskara, so like we have acquired samskara, we have inborn samskara, and I think this is talking about different, right?
Yeah, samskaras are in the mind, but actually the reflection of our samskaras can be found in our glandular situation. So let's say the mind has an experience of certain trauma, and that becomes a glandular imbalance. So the glands reflect our past experiences. So and they can trigger these glandular functions, and they become glandular patterns if it's a combination of samskara and these glandular pathways. So I saw the answer you gave, and you said, oh, physically there are samskaras. The samskaras are in the mind. But
so means that the action is repeated, not only one. Like sometimes, like if we have trauma, some people like just the accident that we get a trauma. But here, trauma means repeated.
But trauma gets passed on even from the grandmother to the grandchild. So if the grandmother experienced trauma, that's reflected in her biochemical imbalance. She gives birth to the mother, and the mother has the same biochemical imbalance as the grandmother. So when the child is born, And the third generation, she will carry on the grandmother's trauma in the body. And so the body reflects the grandmother's trauma. And so if a person is become very sensitive to maybe fearful situations, it can very well be because of the, the previous generations.
So these are you got this information that they have the research, they have done the research about it, so they can know from the
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the generation.
Yeah, so you can understand in Ayurveda, if Ayurveda says that if you want to give birth, if you want to conceive a child, for 2 years you need to do spiritual practices, so you can give birth to a child that is not that is more balanced, that you don't need to pass on the previous generations' imbalances. And so in Ayurveda, the rule is that if you want to have a very balanced child, you first need to do sadhana and sattvic diet and fasting for 2 years. Then you conceive. One reason is to break that cycle of this. One generation passes on the vritti imbalances to the next generation. Actually, this is, I don't know in Ananda Marga what Baba said about these things, but I think Baba will follow, will also suggest the same. Ayurvedic doctors, they help mothers prepare for conception, and they will guide them to do sadhana and all these things. Okay, the third question. Baba explains that all mental activity is through the gland-based propensities. And Baba says, but all mental activity is propensive. And Baba uses this word. And so he speaks about subglands. Now, how would current science look at these subglands? Didi Ananda Suveda, do you have an answer for that?
That is called DES, right?
Yeah, actually, just recently I saw one of Baba's writing. He said the pituitary and the pineal gland are the main glands, and Baba says all the other glands are subglands. So means the thyroid and the thymus and the adrenal and the gonads, they're all Baba's terms, actually it's all subgland. But in other places, Baba, sometimes I get confused. Anyway, it is all the thyroid from the pituitary down, all the glands are subglands. So that includes the diffused endocrine system. It means the independent endocrine cells, and they also play an important role in immune system, in tissue growth, in metabolism. And so the individual glands now also people find that if circulation is not good, these glands can become cause for cancer. And so now there is more interest in these glands. They're studying this diffused endocrine system more because I think something like 25% of the lung cancer is related to the diffused endocrine system. And also in the digestive system, the cancer that appears in the digestive system. So when we do our asanas regularly, we promote circulation, and through the circulation, our glands, the hormones can reach their targets better than when we whole day have to sit at a computer and then go home and then sit in front of the TV. We have to keep the circulation going. Yeah. Okay. Anybody wants to say something about this? I could carry on. Okay. So the next one is the number 4. If we want to affect glandular secretion, there are complex pathways. So how do yoga asanas affect the efficiency of these hormones? So, DDG, do you want to say something?
I think
Improve the blood circulation.
Yeah, blood circulation, right? So now this point, because Baba says, and through pressure and depressuring the glands, the glandular organ, the glands function improves. Now, Western science doesn't say no and doesn't say yes. Okay, so Western science maybe is still exploring this, but when you look at how hormones are produced and just pressurizing, but for example, if you want more secretion in your thyroid gland, we do the shoulder stand and we do the fish pose, and so we balance the glands, but actually the thyroid gland is also controlled by the pituitary. And so if the pituitary is not adjusted, the thyroid gland, the thyroid gland follows the pituitary. And the same for the adrenals. So the adrenal glands, the secretion is also controlled by the pituitary. And there are many chemical steps before you get a hormone. And so this Western science does not say, oh, you can press and then release and press and release, but it also doesn't say it's not working like that. So it is something, I guess, Western science is still ambivalent about. So they have no. So, but in our yoga, Baba's teaching is you pressurize the place and you release, then you create hormonal balance.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Sure.
I would like to ask you because I know in psychology they talk about like the pituitary gland is controlling all the glands. Is that something Baba also talks about, or that the pituitary is controlling the other glands? Baba talks about that, or you have that from psychology?
Oh, actually, I think Baba specifically mentioned about the pineal gland.
Okay.
Pineal
Pineal gland, yeah.
Pineal gland. And Baba said the pineal secretion affects all the other glands. And then Baba said that if the mind is not perceptive and if it is in a tamasic flow, it cannot experience the bliss of the pineal gland. And this pituitary is basically human anatomy, and this is something Western science is totally in agreement about, that the pituitary affects all the other glands. I didn't see this in Baba's writings. I can focus on it, I can look at it, but DDG, I cannot hear you now. You have to turn on your speaker.
No, I have studied about that some time ago, and I know that Western science do tell that. But I mix up pituitary and pineal gland, but I suppose that's the same gland they talk about. It controls all the other glands.
But the pineal gland and the pituitary, they're different glands.
Yes, yes, I mix them up, but I think it would be the same gland they talk about in psychology. Yes, they do talk about that.
Mm.
It control all the other glands in the body. It does say so. So Baba also talks about this.
I didn't see about pituitary, but I saw about the pineal.
Yeah, pineal gland. Yes, I
But
guess it's the same gland.
I think for us as yoga teachers, it's important that, okay, we do the asanas and we increase the blood flow and we, somehow for example, the thyroid or the adrenals become more healthy. But I think it is also important that in our yoga class we do meditation, because if the pituitary is not functioning properly, the glandular adjustment will not be as perfect. And I think this Baba has stressed before also, that when we do asana, we also have to do sadhana with the students. And I think this science, I feel it shows so very clearly that meditation is a part of the asana class. Has to be for if you want glandular balance. If you just want exercise, it doesn't matter. But if we want to help mental stability, asanas alone is not enough. There has to be some form of meditation. Okay, thank you, Diriji. We continue. And the fifth question, and this is also very interesting. It is found that thoughts can heal, and like the placebo effect is real. So how does the neurological system affect tissue growth and the immune system? And how does that support our use of mantra with ideation? And I don't know if my question is clear enough. So people found that actually 30% of the cures has nothing to do with the medicine. It is with what people believe the medicine will do. And so the placebo and effect. Now, I don't know if you remember, Diryananda Suveda, do you remember? Or anybody, does anybody want to answer this question? Because this point I feel also important for our yoga asana practice.
I remember is that when we do asana, we bend or bend this way, bend that way. Then we feel some pain in that area. When we feel the pain, we focus on that pain area. So that when it is kind of what Baba said, pressurized. Then when you pressurize, the blood is cannot go there. So when we relax, then the blood will come more. And also because the mind goes the notice to that area, so that area get more blood, and also the blood circulation become better. And in this way, it can help to how to say, when the hormone is the blood circulation is fluently, so the hormone secrete the hormone can follow the blood circulation to the target place.
Diriji, you have to differentiate two systems. The neurological system doesn't require blood flow. It has a direct channel.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, and what you say about the blood flow is important for hormonal distribution. But the nerve system doesn't require this. But there is an interesting thing that, okay, you mentioned, okay, you stretch and then there is a certain place where you get more feeling because it may be painful or it's stiff, or so naturally your mind goes to that part of the body, and so that means your nerves, The focus is on that part of the body. Now, it is when the nerves are activated, they may secrete neuropeptides. Now, neuropeptides, they are actually, you can say, endocrine secretions from the nerve system. Okay, so it is found that nerves are not just messengers who send electronic signals. They also can take active part in the reconstruction of the body. And so when we stretch or when we do the poses, and we should do them so that we have a feeling. And when the feeling is there, the nerve action on that part of the body will be more healing. And especially if there is positive ideation. And so when we do the asanas and we keep our mind in the flow of Bhavanam Kevalam, then our practice will be more beneficial to our health than if we do just physical exercise. And so the ideation during the pose supports healing. And the reason is the neuropeptides. And this is something, that is actually throughout the body. And we find that wherever the nerves go, they actually can also support the immune system and tissue growth. And I think because this is we learn from Baba that okay, when you have the mantra, you have to focus also on the meaning of the mantra. And when you focus on the meaning of the mantra, from scientific point of view, means you bring more neuropeptides into your system. Hey, Tuti, please turn off your microphone. So there you get this extra benefit. Yeah. Anybody, any question about this point? Anybody, any question about this point? And I think this is important for our own practice because so in asanas, if we keep ideation, it creates an extra positive force. And this is supported by science, and this is also actually, during asana, I never heard Baba said we should keep, of course, mantra we always have to keep in the mind. Anyway, mantra helps us keep a healthy body. And the science is there to support that. Anybody, any question about this? Okay, Didi, Ananda Suveda, we go to question 6, okay?
Okay. Let me read.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 6, sadhana. The sandhyas are those times, kala in the day when our prana, vital energies are balanced in the external nature. There are 4 sandhyas. 1, morning, prata kala sandhya. 2, noon, madhyana kala sandhya. 3, evening, sayana kala sandhya. And 4, midnight kali sandhya. Why are the 4 sandhyas such beneficial times for our sadhana from the neurological perspective? Should I answer? Or I think maybe Sister Chitra, she did answer.
Okay. Chitraji, do you want to say?
Oh, I have written in my homework that the 4 sandhyas are such beneficial times for our sadhana from the neurological perspective because they follow the 24-hour circadian clock of balancing hormonal secretions. That's all.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer. Yeah, that when do you remember we talked about the sympathetic nerve system and the parasympathetic nerve system? And so that circadian rhythm, that there's a rhythm in the day that our body's sympathetic nerve system is more dominant. And this is actually from 6 to 10 in the morning and from 2 to 6 in the afternoon. And so this, when the sympathetic nerve system is more active, it is more difficult for us to do sadhana. And of course, this has to do with the glands also. And so the glands and the nerves, you know, the glands, they work together. So actually your answer is totally correct. And I would suggest also to include the sympathetic and parasympathetic. So in the morning from 4 to 6, and at noon time, around 12, 1 or 2 hours before and after, and then again in the evening, right? And just the evening sunset and then midnight. These are the 4 times in the day that sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve systems are balanced. And so we don't feel too sleepy and we also don't feel too active. And so our body is naturally inclined for sadhana. Yeah, thank you, Chitraji. I had no time yet to look at the homework. I know you sent it yesterday, but the next, number 7, Didyananda Suveda, can you read, please? Didi disappeared. Now, I will read then. Number 7, hormonal balance is so important for mental and physical health. Now, which tamasic foods disturb hormonal balance? Now, so here I wanted to ask you to find 5 tamasic foods and then explain what kind of effect they have on our hormones. Now, Chitra, do you want to do this one?
I have answered that tamasic foods which disturb hormonal balance are meat, eggs, onion, garlic, mushrooms, and durian.
Yeah. Now, do you remember which hormones the onions affect?
No, I don't, sorry.
Yeah. So actually, according to Western science, onions increase testosterone. You know, so testosterone is the females have it, but especially males have more testosterone, and it makes us more aggressive. And so if people eat onions, they become more temperamental and forceful. Now, meat, eggs, durian, and mushrooms, they affect estrogen. Now, estrogen levels are very important, especially in women. If the estrogen goes up too much, then it affects the mood of ladies very much. And the case of mushroom is it increases estrogen indirectly. So it means it produces a precursor of estrogen. So the mushrooms, when people eat mushrooms, they increase one chemical in the body, and that chemical will increase the estrogen. But for example, I think many Southeast Asian countries, durian is used by ladies if they want to conceive. If ladies don't have a baby or want to have more babies, then they use the durian, and this will help their female hormones. And so the level of hormones goes up, and for sadhakas, it's not healthy. So I found it very interesting that, you know, we call them tamasic foods, but actually there's science to back it up, and that they affect the glandular balance. I don't know about other foods. I didn't spend too much time on this but I think that for other foods there must be other scientific reasons why they are rajasic or tamasic. Okay, we continue.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
About durian. Let's say in my age, I am kind of diagnosed with, less estrogen because it's past menopause.
Yeah.
Is durian then healthy for me?
Well, there is this hormone replacement therapy, right? So for ladies, after this menopause starts, and then to keep the mind balanced, they take these Western medicines. I think it is better to increase your estrogen through asana practice. And if it doesn't work well enough, maybe durian can work for you. But I have and this is not only my opinion. This is a fact that if you make your body dependent on external, like hormone replacement, then actually your body doesn't increase its balance. So from our yogic perspective, it would be better to practice more apanasana, means the asana that can increase estrogen within the body. But there are limitations. Like we have one student, and she had to take 5 pills to balance her thyroid gland, and then she started to practice our shoulder stand and fish 3 times every day, morning, evening, and she could reduce to 1 pill. And so the doctor didn't remove all the medicines. She still had to take. So she could reduce from 5 to 1. So I think it's always good to keep in mind that the doctor's opinion is valuable. But I think from the yogic point of view, we will try to solve our own problems with asanas. And so our regular practice is important. Maybe because my nature is, I never did asanas, okay? So when I started past 50 something, I was doing kids yoga. That was, okay, my asana practice. But now I'm teaching adults for the past 3 years, and I find it makes very big difference in my life. Every week I have to do at least 4 or 5 hours of asanas, and I get a lot of benefit from this. It balances the prana, the body functions better, and of course that works for the mind. So I think I would encourage all of us actually to spend more time on asana practice, because in Ananda Marga we don't have this kind of physical culture, but asanas really work. And yeah, thank you for the question. And any other questions? And so actually when you look at the chart I sent to the WhatsApp group, you see Baba has so many apanasanas. And so there are so many, there's a reason why Baba uses so many apanasanas. And from the yoga psychology, I don't know if you remember, but if the second chakra becomes imbalanced, well, it creates a lot of negative behavior and very difficult to manage. And because these are this works on the unconscious level. So once these glandular imbalances start to show up, and then the mind is triggered with whatever samskara we have, and these emotions express, it's very painful. you know, every time because when I give class, I have mostly ladies, right? So this weekend we had this workshop for yoga psychology, yoga of emotions, and you know, I almost cried because these ladies, they have 2 kids or 3 kids, and their husbands work, and then they work. These mothers, they day and night they are busy, and they have no time for themselves, and then they stuck in their emotion, and they have, you know, they don't have this practice of meditation. They cannot get out of their second chakra emotions, so it becomes very destructive, and even they want to commit suicide, and you know, all these kind of things come up. And now if it's a case like that, I wouldn't wait for the asanas. I would give medicine. But then you see the experience with medicine is that it doesn't work for everybody. And at least 30–40% of people who take these medicines for, especially for the second chakra issues, the 40% of people have no benefit. So I think asanas. All right, we continue.
Great. Shall I read?
Oh, thank you, Didi. I thought, yeah, thank you. Please.
How could I didn't open my mic.
Oh, that's why.
Number 9. No, number 8. Baba used to be very strict about half bath and Shauchamanjusha for using water after urination. What are the scientific reasons for Baba's insistence on this?
All right. Chitra, do you have an answer?
My answer is the scientific reasons for Baba's insistence on half bath and Shauchamanjusa are the effect of temperature on hormonal balance, especially the diving reflex, splashing water 12 times into the eyes, whereby the heart rate slows down, the breathing rhythm becomes deeper, and one can more easily concentrate. That's all.
Yeah, beautiful. This, so we learned that wherever there is heat, extra heat in the body, there is more activity. And so usually, and we do when we do our half bath, or we go to the bathroom, if we can cool and the first and second chakra, that area, it will really create more vitality for the other chakras. And if the lower chakras are more active, it takes away the energy from the higher glands and the higher chakras. So there's only so much energy you have in your body. So if there is too much heat in the pelvis, then the other glands cannot function as well. So cooling the pelvis is always something very beneficial. And I think Baba was very strict about this. So this is, and there's a good reason also. All right, Didi Ananda Suveda, number 9.
How do asana practices benefit the functioning of the nerves?
Yeah, good question. Chitra, do you want to answer?
All right. My answer is asana practices benefit the functioning of the nerves by using our muscles, engaging the body fully to keep our nerve cells active and vibrant, because each muscle fiber has a corresponding nerve connected to it for contractile excitation.
Yeah, beautiful. So that is the point. And so every muscle cell needs a neurological stimulation to function. Now, if we don't move, these neurological connections, they become inactive and they can become, they may disappear. And we have already seen, and the nerves also play an important role in the immune system and in the metabolism. And you remember the neuropeptides that we talked about? And so if our nerve system, especially with age, withers away, it's not just that we lose the muscle power, but actually we also lose the nerve power, and now this will weaken the whole mind and the whole body, and so we have to move. So in a yoga class, and for example, when you give you train your students the asanas, and especially new people, you find they will be shaking. And one reason, when they, for example, if they're doing, they need, if they cannot keep a pose for a longer time and they start shaking, one reason is that it is the neurological system is not active enough. And so, but with practice, it can recover. And so when the body, the nerves are firing regularly, then that shaking will slowly stop. And so that is also, keep this in mind when you teach your students. And so when you see they're shaking, and you find that they need more practice, and support them and make them understand. Don't worry. It's not that your muscles are not strong. It is you haven't used your muscles regularly. So your nerves have become weak, and so we have to keep practicing. And try to explain to them.
I have a question.
Please.
I have a question. In my class, there are many old people, and since they are old, they cannot be as strong as the young people. So they keep shaking because their muscles become weaker, and we cannot ask them to act as the young people.
Yeah.
So what to do about that for the old people?
But build it up slowly. And so you have to find a kind of silver lining, and don't give them too much hardship, but also don't make it too easy for them. And explain why. And this I always explain in my class that why I give them so much trouble. Because you have to challenge yourself. If you just go doing chair yoga with them, or you just do slow breathing, or it's good, it relaxes, stress release is always good. But even when you look at Baba's asanas, some poses are very challenging, and so challenging poses help our brain grow more neural connections. So we have to keep on challenging the brain, and I would suggest you explain to them, don't give up, and tell them that with practice they will improve and they will overcome their weaknesses.
But can we use props for them? Can we use props?
Yeah, well, this Iyengar, they use a lot of props. I don't like props. I like just yoga mat, and we do. I don't use props, but it's my personal thing. Other people use it. I think it's up to you. Yeah. Maybe because I was in Africa for a long time, so we learned to do everything without anything. So I feel, personally, I don't need props in my class. But I don't think it's against, if it's convenient, then yeah. give them support. Okay, so we continue. Number 10, Divyananda Suveda, please.
Baba's asana practice has some very unique aspects, such as breath control while doing the poses, slowness and repetition. How can this yoga practice reset the reticular formation? What is the importance of readjusting the reticular formation for meditators?
Yeah, very nice. Chitra, do you want to answer?
My suggested answer is that Baba's asana practice can reset the reticular formation by balancing its actions through strengthening the functioning of the PNS, that is the parasympathetic nerve system, and the cortex. Readjusting the reticular formation is important for meditators as any sensory input cannot affect the mental balance. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's the point. And so when the reticular formation has been retrained, so when we slow down the body and we slow down our thinking, and then the parameters for the reticular formation will change. And then it becomes more subtly attuned. And so if the reticular formation is flexible, okay, so if a person is always involved in crude activities, and then this crudeness the reticular formation finds this crudeness is important for our attention, so that will pass on. But if a person does yoga asana practice with breathing and slow repetition and pays inner attention, the reticular formation will become more subtle, and it will change how the brain sees the world and will find the world more peaceful. And I think this is a very beautiful effect. Sometimes people, myself included, that we find Baba's asanas actually very special, but we don't use it a lot. We use maybe few, and lady poses with shoulder stand, Chandrasana. But actually, all Baba's poses have this effect on brain function. Okay, I think I'm happy we did the questions together, and I'm happy some of you did the homework and spent the time to research, and I'm happy that this 4 weeks we have already covered a lot actually, and I'll encourage you to keep reading. There's a lot of information there that can help us to become better teachers. I think today we do chapter 5, the spine. Okay, so I want to ask you to go to your Science of Asanas teacher's guide, and there is about the spine. And so there this is the 5th chapter. I'm here on page 42. I don't know about you. So that is a lot of our yoga practice is about developing a flexible spine and keeping the spine flexible. And so when the spine is flexible, the blood flow, there is blood flow through the spine, and our part of a big, I think it's, I forgot, but there is a large percentage of the blood to the brain actually comes through the spine. And so if the spine becomes stiff, then it will also affect our brain function. So trying to keep the brain, the spine, the range of movement, to keep that protected is important. And it's like my age, in 65, if I would not do asanas, I would have lost 2/3 of my spinal flexibility. And so regular asana for older people actually is very important. And so and you have to keep in mind, and that if the spine is under pressure or if the spine alignment is affected, then it can also affect the heart, it can affect the lungs, it affects the stomach. Now this is all even the male-female hormones. And so the spinal health, and this is Western science, of course we know because we have chakra, so we understand the chakra. We work with chakras, so we know that if the spine, the position of the spine is changed, then it affects our chakra functioning. And so this is Western science supports this. Now, if you want to train people and help them develop more flexibility, keep in mind that the spine has 3 kinds of muscles. So one set of muscles goes parallel with the spine. And so first, as a warm-up, we usually do forward bends to stretch out the muscles of the spine which are parallel with the spine. Then you have muscles that are perpendicular on 90 degrees on the spine. And so we do sideways stretches. And so we do like Padahastasana. Actually, Baba's Padahastasana is a very good practice to start the yoga class with, because it stretches the sideways and it stretches front and back. So once these 2 muscle groups, and the parallel and the perpendicular muscle groups have been stretched, then we can do twists. And so we shouldn't start with strong twists in the beginning of the class. We first have to stretch the muscles that go along with the spine and that are perpendicular with the spine. And when we do the twists, we stretch the muscles that are kind of, cross-lateral. So keep this in mind when you do your yoga practice or teaching. So this is practical for our teaching. Now here I want to move to the next page, to the cerebrospinal fluid. And this is actually very interesting because Baba has quite a few asanas that adjust the pelvis. And so if you look at the picture in your teacher's guide, and here is the pelvis, and here is the spine, and here is the brain. Okay? So every 6 hours, the spinal fluid changes. So the brain produces new fluid and the old fluid goes out. Now, the cerebrospinal fluid is important for brain function. And it is kind of, the cerebrospinal fluid is where the brain floats in. And actually, people still don't know fully the role of the cerebrospinal fluid. But if the flow of the fluid is not healthy, it affects brain activity. So there is no organ to move the blood up and down. It's not like the heart that pumps the blood or the lungs that take in and out air. The cerebrospinal fluid fully depends on our level of movement. And so, and our gentle asana practice helps activate the cerebrospinal movement. Now, the pelvis position plays an important role. And so now I think many of you are sitting on a chair right now. So your pelvis most likely is pointed backwards. So actually Baba has few asanas, like, I don't know if you've practiced, but the Bhavasana or the Utkatasana, the chair pose and the ideation pose. These are very good poses to adjust, to tilt the pelvis forward. And when the pelvis is tilted forward, it prevents the accumulation of cerebrospinal fluid in the pelvis region. And so if the pelvis is moved backwards, the cerebrospinal fluid tends to accumulate here. But if pelvis is tilted forward, it helps increase the upward flow of cerebrospinal fluid. And this is something to keep in mind. And so the pelvis position is very beneficial actually for the brain function. And when you look at Baba's asana, and Baba has this Jatila Utkatasana, they're very difficult pose. I've never seen anybody who can do it, but they all adjust the pelvis. And I find this very interesting that Baba chose these poses. And he could have given many other poses, but I think I never saw Baba's explain why he chose these poses, but from what we can connect with science, it is the cerebrospinal fluid. And I also think that as cerebrospinal fluid is so important, and the flow of cerebrospinal fluid, and Baba doesn't allow us to do headstand. And most yoga system, including Shivananda, though they do very gentle yoga, they also do headstand. And now the brain is not one, our head, and the skull of our head is many pieces connected. And actually the sutures, the joints between one part of the skull and the other part of the skull actually is alive. So if we put too much pressure, this is what I think, okay? But if we put too much pressure on the skull bones, it may harden the joints, and this will affect the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. So if you ask me, and what is scientific reason why we don't do Sirsasana and this headstand, then I think it is Baba suggests that nowadays people should not put too much, make their skulls, not make them too hard. Keep those joints soft and flexible. And I don't know if you have practiced the hair pose in Shashangasana. Shashangasana is very, very nice way of massaging the crown chakra, so we can get the benefit without harming ourselves. People have said, I heard some Mardis say, Baba said we shouldn't do headstand because the blood flow pressure on the brain is too high. And that nowadays people cannot manage this. This type of story also is in the wider yoga community. People sometimes say that you can get a stroke through the headstand. So I saw somebody's research on this, and actually he says of all the people he could find in the world, there is one case who really got stroke. And then he said, but the reason why he got stroke maybe has nothing to do with the headstand itself. He says this, people get stroke in many different situations. So he says that this case of one person getting a stroke doing the headstand may not be caused by the headstand itself. I think, I don't know if you're interested in sacrocranial therapy, and they can feel the rhythm of the cerebrospinal fluid, and they, through adjusting the parts of the brain, they can affect the flow of cerebrospinal fluid, and that way they can help release headaches and even diseases. And I try to study this, and I cannot feel it, so I never managed this one. But this is something maybe, because it doesn't require any medicine, it is something, maybe you have the gift. Yeah. Does anybody have any point about this Sirsasana and so this is what I connect, okay? So this is not something that I heard from Baba, or I just look at the science and then I look at Baba's things and then I say, maybe there is a connection. Now, the last point about the spine is, so we have already talked the spine's flexibility, for the nerves health, for the blood flow, because blood flow from the spine goes to the brain. And we have talked about the danger of misalignment of the spine, how it can affect the other organs in the body. And so when we have talked about cerebrospinal fluid, and the last one is about the chakras. And so there always is maybe a tendency, people like to connect the chakra with a physical, anatomical connection. And so you can connect the chakras with certain parts of the spine. Yeah, I don't know if this is something very important, because in my feeling is that chakras we use chakras for ideation. They're not really physical, so important, sorry. And so this is something people like to do. Anyway, you can read that one, where they are in which part of the spine. And then I feel Baba has very beautiful, this quote is very nice. And Baba here at the end of the chapter says that generally the plexi do not function in the mother's womb because the babe does not breathe directly. And so in a baby, the chakras don't function yet. And Baba goes on, although the plexi are there, they become developed after birth only when the child starts to use its own respiratory system. So after birth, when the plexi become developed, changes occur in the physical body, in the secretion of hormones and in the hormonal structures. Now this sentence, I don't know if you catch the point, Baba says the hormones start to function when the chakras start to function. And so in Baba's explanation, and this I have seen actually also in Western science, once the chakras begin to function, then the nerves and the glands develop. And so this is something I think scientists will try to research more. Now, the last point Baba makes is that oversecretion and undersecretion of hormones affect nerve cells and thus change our thoughts. Yeah, very nice. I think Baba's writing is so to the point and so concise. Every sentence you can write a book. And anybody, any questions? Today we talked about the spine. Anybody, any question? Okay, then I move on to our yoga psychology. And so far, everybody, I think quite a few of you have done the wheel homework. And I saw also quite a few of you have done putting two vrittis together and creating a personality. And I think that is a very nice exercise. This weekend in our training, the participants, they had wonderful combinations. And they put prasraya and or moha. And the second chakra, there's prasraya, means kind of addiction and compulsive behavior. And then moha, which is also, you know, what outside people do, you want to do. If people have this kind of, one mother said, she saw online, oh, new mothers, they have all kinds of different tools to take care of their baby. So she says she also wants to buy these things. So she bought so many things. And then later she found out actually she has just been brainwashed and that she doesn't need it. But she was under the influence of her, what she calls prasraya, addictive and compulsive behavior, and just blind following of others. She didn't use her own analytical thinking. And so this second and third chakra vrittis, they actually manifest so much in the society. And I think if we really want to have a better world, we have to increase the higher chakras. Otherwise, we just keep on using the same vrittis over and over again. Now, I want to ask you to go to the 8th activity, the second chakra personality. And I think it's good to spend more time here. And in this chapter, I want to ask you to read it, and there are questions. So if you can try to answer the questions as a homework. Okay, so if you can look at this chapter, the orphan, in the second chakra, and try to answer the questions. And I will put the questions together and I will send them to the chat group so you can focus on main questions. You know, when I give the workshops here in Taiwan, and the people who join, some people join for themselves, and some people join because they are counselors. And so they are doing already this psychological counseling. So they already work with people who have mental problems. And I find their response is very positive. And so I encourage you very much to explore this and try to make it so that people in society can benefit from this. Anybody, any question? Divyananda Suveda, do you have any question?
No, at this moment, and I need to go now.
I know. Anything you want to tell everybody? Because we're going to wrap up.
Um,
Tell them to do homework.
yeah. to also myself.
Well, yeah, self-study. That means self-study. All right. And many thanks to everybody, and I hope to see you next week. And please look at the WhatsApp. I sent there these 3 pictures for level 1, level 2, level 3. If you have any feedback, or any ideas or suggestions, I made this division, and the first level is more gentle, and the second level, it goes deeper into the body, and the third level is still stronger on the body. And I don't know if Baba had this in mind, or it's just something that maybe is convenient. But I think it's good. We understand our Baba's asanas more and the benefit of Baba's asanas. All right. Thank you to everybody, and thank you, Didi Ananda Hari, and all participants. And I wish you all the best, and see you next week.
Thank you, namaskar.
Thank you, Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you. Namaskar.